Hey, welcome. Amy Barney here. Wanted to go live real quickly before I head home. I'm actually at work. I know I've seen a lot of posts. A lot of people are feeling stressed out, stir crazy, super anxious, emotional, crying. I wanted to share some tips. I'm doing okay. But I remember a time in my life when I was not okay. And I don't know if my connection is bad because the live button's going in and out, but hopefully it's okay. But okay, shortly after we were married, I was in a car accident. Most of you guys know this. I went through severe anxiety after this. I actually had PTSD. I felt like I was going to die every day. I was super anxious and super stressed out, and it was a really hard time in my life. And the anxiety, I've struggled with anxiety throughout my life, and so that anxiety carried over for many years, where anytime I got in a car or someone else was driving me or whatever, I would always feel stressed and anxious. And so I wish I had learned these tools. I can't recall any tools. They just gave me medicine. All right. I was on medicine for 6 months just so I could get to school and finish out the semester to manage the PTSD, so I wasn't like freaking out in the car. But I wish I'd had these tools. I wish I had had the growth mindset I have now. But I was in survival mode. And when you're in survival mode, it's really hard to seek out that kind of stuff, right? Because you're just in like a lot of, like for me, it was a lot of physical pain and a lot of anxiety. And so when you're overwhelmed by that, and a lot of people right now are in a lot of survival mode, anxiety, a lot of emotional turmoil, and it's really hard to want to seek that kind of stuff out. So, but I wish I'd had these tips. I wish I knew how to take care of myself like I do now. I wish I'd had this to help me. And another thing that's really helped me, just my business in general, has taught me how to work on my mindset, which has made it so much easier to manage all the ups and downs that come in my business and life. So I'm going to share these things, and I hope they help. I would love to hear from you. Hey, great to see you, Lou. Hey, Kate. If anything helps you, what helps soothe you when you're upset, when you're anxious? Because I see a lot of people are really struggling right now. All right, so here are 9 tips. I Googled these. Number 1 is picture the face or a voice of someone you know, someone you love. And if you're feeling distressed, you can visualize that person, visualize that they're there, visualize what they're saying to you. This can help to soothe you. All right, number 2, practice self-kindness. This is something you should try and do every day anyways, even if we're not in a pandemic, is be kind to yourself. Yes. Oh, PTSD is so hard. I'm so sorry. That was a really hard time in my life. So I have a lot of empathy and compassion for people who are going through a hard time, because I've been there. Okay. So for number 2, practice self-kindness. They mentioned some, talking to yourself. You guys, it's so important to talk to yourself out loud or quietly and say kind things to yourself. Like they say, you're having a rough time, but you're going to make it through it. You can repeat that. Or I like to say I am statements instead of your. It's much more powerful to say I am. Like, even though, instead of like, you don't want to say I am with something negative though. Even though I'm having a rough time right now, I'm going to make it through this. I've been through harder times. Or maybe not. Maybe this is your hardest trial you've ever been through. And a lot of people are going through some major things right now. No employment. People have died in their family. There's like real trauma. But if you can say statements to help soothe your mind, it really does help. I use this kind of thing all the time. So I am strong and I can move through this pain. I'm trying hard and I'm doing my best. Say things. Find what works for you. Repeat it over and over again. One of my coaches, Ray Higdon, he teaches this Power Mind class that I've taken several times. And he talks about having these positive I am statement affirmations that you say over and over again in your mind when you're not doing anything. Like, when you're not actively engaged on something, say you're just driving a car, or, when your mind starts to wander, put your mind to work and pick a phrase that helps you feel good, that helps you feel powerful, that helps you to overcome whatever anxiety, fear, stir crazy emotions you're dealing with. Like, I've got this. I've been through worse. I can handle this. I am enough. Things like that you repeat over and over again. It really makes a difference. All right, number 3, sit with a pet. This I have seen in my family. I have always been against having a pet in our home because I was raised without having a dog in the home. But my husband was raised with having a dog in the house. And so I had put it off. I was like, no, we're just not going to have a dog because I don't want one in the home because that's just not how I was raised. We had dogs outside, but I didn't want to have a dog inside. But, you know, it's funny how in life, you know, you say, I will never do things, right? I will never. I usually end up eating my words on probably just about every time I ever say that. It's so true, you guys. Anytime you say, I will never do something, you better believe there's going to come a time in your life when you will. Okay, so it's been over a year, but all of a sudden things kind of, like my son has autism, and we went through some real intense years after his diagnosis, a lot of chaos, a lot of hard times. And the girls were being troopers, but then all of a sudden things just was really hard for everybody in the family. And the emotional burden and needs of my whole family, I felt like this weight on my shoulders. I felt like I couldn't be enough for each of my family members, and I wasn't enough, and it was tearing me apart. And I could feel like their emotional wounds. You know, I'm very sensitive to that. And I felt inspired that I needed to get a dog. And I was like, oh, you know, so much work. And I literally had to take a couple months from my business to spend time raising this puppy, training the puppy, getting the puppy used in our home, used to everything. But it was the best decision. Now, she still drives me nuts. I am still not an inside dog person, but I see what she does for my family and how she calms my daughter Bethany when she's feeling anxious and sad, or when she's had a hard day. She goes over and she snuggles her, and I see how it changes the mood instantly to be around a pet. So sit with your pet. And a great way is to stop thinking about what it is that's bothering you. Sit with your pet and just feel them, pet them. Like, how do they feel? What is their fur like? Get into that and disassociate from the rest. Let go of everything else that's bothering you and focus on just your pet. And, you know, it's just amazing, especially for me, what dogs can do when you're really having a hard time. Okay, number 4, list favorites. This is another tip. List 3 favorite things in several different categories, such as foods, trees, songs, movies, books, places, and so on. If this is something that works for you, me, I'm more of a feeling person. Just make lists. If you're really stressed out, change the topic. Say, you know, start to think of your favorites. You know, like, well, I mean, I guess I could get real excited about food. I like food. Or even talking about my favorite movie. Like, start talking about things like this. It'll help to change the energy. Great to see you. Hey, Miriam. Hey, Deborah. Hey, Sarah. All right, number 5. This is something that I really struggle with. Visualize your favorite place. It's something I'm working on, and all the coaches I work with always talk about visualization and the power of it. And what helped me is when I went to the Bahamas in January, I love the beach, and I got to go to the most amazing beach. And I got to feel it. And I really sat there, and I took pictures, and I sat there, and I captured the moment so that I put it on my wall. I have it to look at. I sat there and I really soaked it up so I could really remember it and pull from it. So that is one of my favorite places. And every day I look at those pictures of the beach, I visualize it, and I bring it into my mind, and I remember that favorite place. And it's so powerful, you guys. When you focus and anchor into that, it can switch the way you're feeling and how stressed you are. It's going to just transform your energy. All right, so number 6, we can't really go do a lot right now, but maybe you can, like a few things, but plan an activity. What is something that you would love to do? I'm going to share it. This is so cool. My friend and I, Michelle, she's the one that went with me to the Bahamas. We are going to have a girls' night in my driveway. We had so much fun planning this the other night. We're going to be in separate truck beds, more than 6 feet apart, and we're going to have dinner in our truck beds, okay? And I had so much fun just talking about and planning it with her. It instantly lifted my moods, and just, you know, to be able to get some kind of interaction outside my family. And so plan something, even if you can't do it now, or find a way to make it happen. Get creative and make it happen with everything that's going on, and maybe it's going to be more memorable because it's so different. All right, number 7, touch something comforting. Favorite blanket, much loved t-shirt. I like to touch and eat chocolate. Soft carpet, you know, whatever. If you liked that touch thing, do that. Number 8, list positive things. This is something I try to do every morning. I'm not always the best, but to list 10 things I'm grateful for. So focus and make a list. I swear, you guys, when you start to focus on what you're grateful for, gratitude transforms everything. If you are stuck in fear, if you are stuck in anxiety, if you are stuck in sadness and overwhelming, I don't know, you're just in that severe survival mode, if you start to focus on gratitude as much as you possibly can, and you make it the main focus of your day, you will see a transformation. You're going to feel better. You're not going to be as stressed out. You're going to see your energy change, which is going to improve your life. So it's huge, you guys. Don't focus on what you don't have, what you can't do, what you're afraid of. Focus on what you're grateful for. It really makes a big difference. All right, number 9, I have discovered the power. I love music, but I have discovered how important it is to me just in my business. Listening to music when I am having a hard time, which I do, when I doing the daily stuff, some days you don't feel like doing it. I just have to put on my favorite songs, upbeat songs. It makes a huge difference. Instantly transforms how I'm feeling. So find those songs that work for you. Avoid the sad ones. Find the ones that make you smile, that make you happy, and listen to those. When you're having a hard time, you have the strength. You can transform your mindset, and you can transform how you're feeling. And sometimes it takes massive amounts of willpower. I understand. When you're in survival mode, I lived in survival mode for years. I would say a couple decades. I was in massive survival mode with a lot of issues going on, physical issues in my life. And I get it. Sometimes you have no energy. It feels like you have no energy for that. And I wish I had learned how to do these things back then, and I didn't. I did not have this growth mindset. I didn't have these tools that I have now that I've developed through my business. I wish I'd had them. They might have transformed my life and made it so much easier during those 2 decades when I went through so much pain and anguish and survival mode. So it does take an effort, but it gets easier. The more you do these things, the more you implement tools to soothe yourself, your body has memory, right? And so as soon as you start to do one cool thing, I will just share this, is one of my coaches, Deb Erickson, she uses this bell. It's like a meditation bell. And at first it was kind of like, oh, okay, weird, but I've gotten so used to her doing it, and I deep breathe with it. I can feel stress and anxiety leave just like that, because my body has gotten trained to using that to relax. And so the more you do pick 1 or 2 or 3 of these that work for you, the more you do it, the faster you're going to react, and the faster you're going to be able to transform your energy. It is incredible. So I'm just going to recap these. Would love to hear what works for you. What helps soothe you when you're in survival mode? What helps to soothe you when you're anxious? Because there are a lot of people out there right now who are feeling this, that are really struggling and needing help. So please share below. And just a recap. Number 1, picture someone you love, a voice or a face. Number 2, practice self-kindness, say kind words to yourself. Number 3, sit with a pet. If you can't sit with a pet, maybe you can imagine, I had a favorite dog growing up. Imagine that. Number 4, list your favorite things, go through them and make a list. Number 5, visualize your favorite place. Think about it in great detail. It makes a difference. Number 6, plan an activity. Number 7, touch something comforting. Number 8, list positive things. And number 9, listen to music. All these are powerful. So I encourage you guys to try them. If you are in that place, if you are in fear, or, even if you aren't now, you will be at some point in your life. And it's great to have a tool bag that you can pull from. And, because of the nature of my business, for 5 years, I've been putting myself in a position of uncomfortableness and fear. It's gotten easier, so it doesn't bother me anymore. But oh my gosh, it would tear me up sometimes. And so I've had to learn to use a lot of tools to be able to get through that, and to be able to feel in a good place and not be bothered by rejection and people saying no. And sometimes people, they're dealing with something in their life and they don't, they might tear into you and say really nasty things. I've had that happen over nothing. And you have to learn to move past it. And so my business has been a great teaching tool for me to help me to learn to manage my mindset better. And it's so important to have that tool. Find what it is that you need to use and use it regularly. Use something every single day. I am feeling really, really good this month because I am working on a challenge with my coach, Deb Erickson. It's a Neuro Tools challenge. So I'm doing 4 of them every day. And I can feel my energy start to slip. And I start to, get pulled down. And I do a neuro tool. It's like a mindset, meditation type thing. and it instantly transforms my energy. So that's been really helping a lot so that I'm not feeling sad, I'm not feeling anxious, and of course I avoid the news. I do not watch the news, you guys. That is a life suck, okay? If you are feeling anxious and stressed, immediately cut out the news. Just don't watch it. It's so negative, you guys. I don't know how anybody can stand to feel good after watching something like that. You just can't. And so I can't afford to have that in my life, and I just don't do it because I am very sensitive. And if I am exposed to certain stories, it will bring me down for days. I will cry. It's not good. So I have to shelter myself because I know myself, and there's just so much negativity out there. So find the good stuff. So I hope this is helpful. Also, today's Friday, so I like to celebrate my wins. I'm going to go home and I'm going to do a little dance with my family and celebrate the good things that happened today. And with everything going on, I think it's so important to pick a day where you celebrate whatever it is that you think is a great win for you that week. Not even great, small wins, anything that went well. And the more you celebrate your journey, the better it's going to be and the better you're going to feel. So that's something I do every week. It's made a huge difference in my journey, especially my business, instead of just waiting to celebrate the big things, which only happen once in a while. And sometimes they don't happen for several years. It may be a couple years before you have a really big win. And so every week I celebrate whatever it is. And maybe it's I just showed up. I just showed up this week. Maybe nothing else happened, but I showed up. And so I celebrate. And it is so much more fun. So make sure to find time to celebrate those good things because there is a lot going on in the world and it's so important to do that. So love you. Hang in there. We're going to get through this. And please, if you need to reach out to me or have questions about some of the things I've been through and how I've managed to get through some of those things, feel free to reach out to me anytime. I am more than happy to talk to you. And I love you and have a great Friday. Bye.